Hello everybody, this is Snowblock Videos on Frostcraft, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to make a server for 1.7.5. We're just going to make a regular server today, and I'm going to do another video on how to make a plugin server later on. Alright, so let's get down to it. First thing you want to do is make a new folder on your desktop. It's probably the easiest place. You can do it anywhere. The desktop's usually the easiest place. Find anything you like. I'm going to call it MC Server 1.7.5. Alright, so that's what I'm going to call it. As you can see, I messed up earlier, that's why that's there, but there was nothing there. Alright, so then you're going to go to Google, and we're going to go to Minecraft.net. Once we're going to go there, we're going to go where it says already bought the game, download here. Click on that, go down to multiplayer server. Make sure you download the jar file right here, the Minecraft server 1.7.5.jar. I'm going to download it again. You're going to want to keep. So wait for it to load. Well, not load, download. Alright, once it's downloaded, make this into like a smaller size screen, just that way you can see what you're doing. Now you're going to drag this into your Minecraft 1.7.5 folder. Open up your 1.7.5 folder and double click on the Minecraft server 1.7.5. So double click on that and wait a second, and you'll see that files are going to start to get generated. At first there's only going to be a logs folder, and then this little white box is going to open up and it's going to start generating more folders inside there, like that. Now you'll see over here it's generating your spawn point, and you'll see a lot of warnings saying failed to load this folder. That's because you don't have anything there, but it's going to generate it for you. And you're going to see it's going to take a while the first time to load up your spawn area. I'm also going to teach you guys some information about system properties and you know, what the different folders are in here and how you can use them to your advantage, so to speak. Alright, so once it says done down here, right down here there's a little bar below all this stuff. You're going to want to type in stop and then hit enter. So I'm going to hit stop the server, save the world, and this is going to close on its own. Once that closes on its own, come back over here to your 1.7.5 folder. Now, I'm going to show you guys some different folder stuff. Now, you're going to see a world folder and a log folder. The world folder is pretty self-explanatory. It's just your world saves. Now, say you wanted to download a map offline or something like that to play with your friends, you gotta make sure that you delete the world folder that's there. Otherwise, it's just gonna load up your other world. Also, if you go into the nether in your game, it's gonna generate another folder. Make sure you delete that too. It's the same thing with the end. If you go to the end, it's gonna delete an end world folder. So make sure you delete that. There's two different folders here: banned IPs and banned players. There's a difference between these two. The banned IPs player is, well, banned players. If somebody comes on and says blowing up your houses and all this other kind of stuff, and you don't want him on your server anymore, you can go into here and ban him, where it says victim name, ban date, ban by, all that kind of stuff, and you can ban that player. Now, if he really wanted to ruin your stuff in your server enough, he can go out, make another name, and go back on your server. If you ban his IP address, where you write in the IP address here, he can never go on your server again from that computer. If that IP is attached to his name, he can't go on your server. So as soon as it reads the IP address you ban, it will kick him off your server. Now, ops is basically just giving permission for people to use commands, stuff like that. You always want to op yourself. It's a really good idea to op yourself, because if you don't op yourself, you're not going to be able to use commands. And you don't have to necessarily op everybody who comes in your server, because if you're opt, you can op other people from in the server. So you always want to make sure that you op yourself. So I'm going to do that right now. You're going to close this, and it's going to ask if you want to save it. Okay. The next thing I want to show you is the whitelist. Now, when you have the whitelist enabled in your server properties, which I'll show you in a second, people can only join your server if they're on the whitelist. So if you want your friend to join, he has to be put on the whitelist. His name, exactly how it would show up in his Minecraft, caps and all that. He has to be put in the whitelist. If it's not enabled in server properties, see right here where it says whitelist, false, that means they don't have to be on the whitelist in order to join your server. If you set this to true, that means they must be on the whitelist in order to join the server. Alright, so now we're going to go over some things in server properties. There's a bunch of things you guys probably know. The first thing is generator settings. Well, generator settings goes along with level type. Default will just generate a random world. Hills and all that kind of stuff. You can set level type to flat. Okay, all caps. Oops. Set your level, if you want a super flat, set your level type to flat. Okay, now generator settings, you can use this to specify how deep, what spawns there. Like if you ever go into a Minecraft world and you see where it says presets and you can use like Miner's Dream or Tunneler's Dream, stuff like that, that's what a generator setting is. So say I want a super flat that's 100 blocks deep. So I'm going to go into here on this website that I like, that I'm going to put in the description for you guys. This is what you can do to make a bunch of different layers. You can add things. You can come over here and you can pick from a list of blocks. You can basically do whatever you want. Like you can make a layer of cake if you want, And also you can pick down here what you want to spawn. Temples, witch heights, lava lakes, plants, ores and stuff, dungeons, strongholds, mine shafts, all those kind of stuff. You can go into advanced option, village size, village distance, mine shaft chance. You can change all of that. If you want the mine shaft chance to be greater, raise the chance. Stronghold distance, it's all features that you can pick out. So I want it to be 100 blocks deep, right? If it's just set in regular, that's usually 3. But if I want it to be 100 blocks deep, all I gotta do is change that to 100, and you'll see this number up here changes. Highlight this, and then copy it. What you want to do is paste it into your generator settings, and then it will come up there, and that will make our super flat 100 blocks deep. And to whatever number you specified there, the number can be really long. Okay, it depends on what you decide to put in there, and you just paste that after the equal sign in generator settings. Next thing I want to show you is allow flight, true or false. That does not mean can they fly in creative mode. That only means in survival mode. So if you have it set to true, they can fly in survival mode if they choose. If you have it set to false, then they can't. So I'm going to leave that set to false. Announce player achievements, true, and announces it, false, it doesn't. Server port, I'll get to that later. Level seed, if you want a specific seed, you can put in the seed to the world. Force game mode. This is game mode down here that whatever you have set. 0 is survival, 1 is creative, I believe 2 is adventure. I'm not sure. Just look up whatever the game mode you want, but I'm going to use creative, which is 1. Now, force game mode is if somebody joins your server, if you have that set on game mode 1 and you have force game mode set to true, whenever they join, their game mode is forced to creative. If you have this set on false, whatever game mode they left your server in is the same game mode that they're going to enter the server in. Sorry about that. Spawn animals, pretty self-explanatory. If it's false, they don't. Resource pack. If you have a resource pack, you put that in here. Enable command block. As you know, you can't get command blocks via your inventory, but you can use commands to get them. So I always set this to true. True. Okay. You can change your max amount of players. The default is 20. Spawn monsters true. Generate structures true. View distance 10. Okay. MOTD at the bottom stands message of the day. So if I want my message to be a snow block tutorial, right? I can set it that. You can put it as whatever you want. Also, up here, there's the level name was just world. You can change that to make your world name something else. So I'm going to call it Frostcrafts World. Alright. And the last thing I said I wanted to go over was the server port. Now, this only comes in really only comes in handy if you're port forwarding. Other than that, you don't really need to change it or do anything to it. Now, to make a server work on some computers, you need to port forward. It's usually not that difficult, but it can be confusing if you don't really know what you're doing. But all this port is when you port forward, you have to specify what port you want to forward. So whatever you have set as server port is the port that you're going to port forward. Now you can change this number to whatever port number you want. You can name a random number, it doesn't matter. As long as you put that same port into your information when you're port forwarding. So if I change this to 25564, when I go to port forward, I gotta make sure I hit 25564. But I'm just gonna leave it at the default. Yeah, I think that's just about it. So you're gonna close this. It's gonna ask if you want to save it. So now that we've gone over everything, what we're gonna do is we're gonna load back up the server. So we're gonna double click on that. You give it a second, and that little white box should pop up, just like this. And now you'll notice preparing level Frostcrafts World, and you'll also notice that the spawn point is going a lot faster than it was before. It's because it doesn't have all the files to load. So it's done. This time, if you're using the server, you have to leave this open though. And whenever other people use the server, you have to leave this open. So you're just going to minimize this. We're going to go into Minecraft now. And wait for the launcher. Alright, so now we're just waiting for the launcher. And the launcher will load at any time now. Okay, so whatever server you're joining, this is a 1.7.5 tutorial, but if your friend has a different version server, whatever server you're going into, make sure you have the Minecraft version set of that server version. If you don't know how to change the version, go into your edit profile, and you're going to see here it says use version, release, and then just choose release. So we're going to choose 1.7.5 and hit save profile. Play. Gonna load up the game. Okay, so now we have excuse me. Now 1.75.5 is gonna load up. No, whoops, hold on, I had the server closed. My bad. This is gonna be edited in because I had to close and refilm the end part because the music was on and it was like really obnoxious and you couldn't hear anything. So that's why the server is closed. So I just have to wait for my server to get back up again. Okay, it's up. Alright. And it's going to say can't connect because my server wasn't up. Okay. But, alright. So if you're trying to go onto your server, if it doesn't come up, all you got to do is go to add server. Server name doesn't matter what you put. And what you got to do, if you're on your own computer, if you're going on a server that's on your own computer, just type in local host, no spaces, and hit done, and it will come up with your server. Okay? If your friends are trying to join, they're going to get to the add server screen just like you. But what you need to do for them is you need to go on Google or something like that and type in what's my IP. There should be a number up here that comes up to the top. Copy that number, okay? And that you got to give them that number somehow. Now there's no right click in Minecraft, but if you just hit Control V, it'll paste. So you see we hit done, and it's going to come up with the same server. Now, excuse me. The numbers over here, the 0 out of 20 is how many people are in the server. 0 because it's not on. And over here is the network connection. So anyway, we're gonna hit that, hit join server. Okay, now we're in the server. Now we switched our generator settings, so if we did everything right, if we dig down, it should be deeper. Oops. It should be deeper than the default, which that is definitely deeper than what regular is, so we know our generator settings work. So that means everything's up and running good. We have a super flat world like we put in, so everything's running good. So we're gonna hit disconnect. We get out of this. So now you go over to your server, and it's even gonna say you Frostcraft lost connection, Frostcraft left the game. So it tells you everything. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna type in stop and press enter, and it's gonna save your server and automatically close it for you, and it should be pretty quick. And the last thing I want to show you guys is the logs. If you go into the logs, you're going to see the latest log, and it's going to show you everything that was here. So that means you know that it's working. So that is basically it, guys. You have a server running. Now you got your very own server. Now, like I said, that's just a regular server that doesn't have plugins or anything. A plugin server is pretty different. I will try to make another video pretty soon, and about how to make a plugin server, and also another tutorial on how to make a modded server. And also, I might do a quick tutorial on how to port forward, just in case you guys have to do that. Um, port forwarding really isn't that hard, honestly. If you just go on Google, you can usually figure out how to do it, like an article. It's really not hard. So, that's it. Thank you guys for watching.